They don't speak, yet the world listens. That's the power of Lee Min-Ho and Song Hye-Kyo, two names that can ignite headlines from Seoul to Paris without saying a single word. Every step they take, every photo captured at an airport or luxury event, every whisper of movement through the fashion capitals of the world becomes instant news. Yet what fascinates millions of fans is not just their fame, but how they wield silence like an art form, transforming absence into presence, mystery into magnetism. Welcome back to Korean TV Chronicles, your home for stories that go beyond the spotlight. Today, we're diving into the quiet but dazzling world of Lee Min-Ho and Song Hye-Kyo, and how they've mastered the rare skill of staying relevant without chasing attention. Their journey from the streets of Seoul to the runways of Paris is not just about fame. It's about aura, elegance, and the kind of star power that transcends words. Picture this, the flash of cameras outside a Paris fashion house. The murmurs of fans, the clicking of heels, the anticipation that ripples through the crowd. And then, she appears, Song Hye-Kyo, glowing beneath soft city light, dressed in muted elegance, walking with the composure of someone who knows that every step she takes is a headline. She doesn't need to smile or wave. Her presence is enough. Somewhere else, maybe just a few streets away or at another global event, Lee Min-Ho steps out of a sleek car, his gaze calm, his aura commanding, surrounded by bodyguards yet carrying himself with effortless ease. He doesn't give interviews or make grand statements, but somehow the internet floods with his images within hours. How do they do it? How do two Korean superstars remain at the center of global conversations without constant posting, without oversharing, without the chaos of controversies or scandals? The answer lies in something that very few celebrities understand: controlled visibility. Lee Min-Ho and Song Hye-Kyo have mastered the rhythm of being seen just enough. They move through the modern entertainment world like ghosts wrapped in gold, visible but untouchable, admired but rarely explained. In an age where everyone is shouting for attention, they whisper, and somehow, the world leans closer to listen. Their stories began in Seoul, the beating heart of Hallyu, the Korean wave that reshaped global pop culture. Song Hye-Kyo rose to fame long before social media could amplify her every move. In the early 2000s, dramas like Autumn in My Heart and Full House didn't just make her a star, they made her a symbol. Her expressive eyes, her delicate yet strong performances, and her quiet grace captured hearts across Asia. She became the embodiment of elegance, of timeless beauty, of emotion restrained yet powerful. And over time, that image evolved beyond television. She became not just an actress, but a muse for fashion, a face of luxury, a voice for causes, often spoken through action rather than words. Lee Min-Ho's rise came during the explosion of modern K-drama mania. When Boys Over Flowers aired, it wasn't just a show, it was a cultural earthquake. Millions across Asia, then beyond, fell in love with his charm, his tall frame, his subtle expressions. Over the years, he built on that fame, taking roles that stretched his image, from romantic leads to complex modern characters. But what made him stand apart wasn't only his acting, it was how he carried his fame. Always polished, rarely loud. While many stars chase virality through online posts and interviews, Lee Min-Ho and Song Hye-Kyo prefer the long game. Their social media feeds are like curated galleries, clean, minimal, deliberate. A photo here, a brand partnership there. Never too much, never random. Just enough to spark curiosity, to keep their followers wondering what's next. But their mastery shines brightest when they step into the global stage, particularly Paris. Paris, the city of fashion and whispers, of old glamour and new headlines. When Song Hye-Kyo arrives in Paris for Fashion Week, the moment doesn't need a caption. Her photos, the ones taken from afar by fans and photographers, flood timelines within minutes. There's something cinematic about her quiet confidence, the way she walks into a crowd and somehow slows time. She doesn't talk much about the brands she wears, she doesn't flood her page with selfies, yet her appearances generate more press than most influencers could dream of. Lee Min-Ho, too, commands that kind of attention. Whether it's an international film festival, a luxury brand dinner, or an unexpected trip abroad, his sightings cause ripples across media platforms. His fans are global now, spanning continents and languages, and even a glimpse of his airport outfit trends online. But again, it's not just about the image. It's about the intentionality. Every public move feels carefully considered, like chess pieces on a world board. This silence, this control, is not accidental. It's strategy. In a time when oversharing is the norm, restraint becomes revolutionary. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's tension. It creates a vacuum that fans and journalists rush to fill. Why was Song Hye-Kyo in Paris? Who was Lee Min-Ho seen meeting at the event? Even without saying a word, they spark endless speculation, and speculation keeps their names alive in headlines week after week. But silence alone isn't enough to sustain relevance. What makes it work for them is credibility, the foundation they've built over years. Song Hye-Kyo has not only been one of Korea's most respected actresses but also a cultural ambassador. Her philanthropic efforts, such as donating Korean history books and cultural materials abroad, reveal a thoughtful, patriotic side. Every act adds depth to her persona. She's not just beautiful, she's purposeful. Lee Min-Ho, on the other hand, has leveraged his fame into global ambassadorships, representing luxury brands and supporting causes quietly. His clean public image, combined with a grounded personality, reinforces his credibility. And then, of course, there's the subtle thread that links them, one that fans never forget. Years ago, in an interview, Lee Min-Ho confessed that his ideal type was none other than Song Hye-Kyo. He admired her performance in Full House, describing her as bubbly, natural, and full of life. It was a simple comment, made long ago, yet even now, it resurfaces whenever they appear in the same conversation, the same city, or even the same headline. Fans wonder, imagine, and weave their own narratives. Could they meet in Paris? Could there be a project waiting? The beauty is that neither of them confirms nor denies. They let curiosity do the work. It's a dance, subtle, elegant, perfectly timed. They've both become symbols of a new kind of celebrity, global yet grounded, visible yet private, expressive yet silent. Their fame transcends words because they've learned that mystery has a longer shelf life than noise. Imagine being in their position. The world wants to know everything about you, where you go, who you meet, what you think, and yet you choose silence. You choose calm. You choose to let your presence do the speaking. That restraint creates a rare magic. When Song Hye-Kyo walks into a Paris event draped in couture, journalists write paragraphs about her aura. When Lee Min-Ho lands in Europe, fans speculate about collaborations and projects. Their silence amplifies their power. And in truth, this mastery of image is not only about silence. It's about storytelling without words. Every outfit, every destination, every expression tells a story of confidence, culture, global connection. From Seoul to Paris, their journeys mirror the expansion of Korean culture itself, rooted in tradition, blooming into modern global influence. What's even more fascinating is how the world reacts. Fans don't just follow their work, they study their gestures, decode their posts, analyze their outfits. Entire communities online dissect a single public appearance, connecting dots between events, captions, and subtle details. Their quietness fuels engagement because mystery demands participation. Silence invites imagination. And this is where they differ from the modern influencer era. Most celebrities now rely on volume, the more content, the more clicks. But Lee Min-Ho and Song Hye-Kyo rely on gravity. The fewer the words, the heavier the meaning. When they finally post or speak, it carries weight. It feels special, because it's rare. In Paris, the city that feeds on fashion and mystique, that strategy thrives. Song Hye-Kyo is often the embodiment of old-world glamour, poised, polished, elegant. Lee Min-Ho represents modern charisma, sleek, understated, effortlessly global. Together, even though they rarely share a frame, they symbolize the evolution of Hallyu, from local television fame to international lifestyle icons. Their silence also reflects maturity. They've seen what happens when fame becomes chaos, when stars burn too bright, too fast. They've learned that to endure, one must conserve. To stay mysterious is to stay alive in public memory. Because once every mystery is solved, interest fades. So when you see those headlines, Lee Min-Ho spotted in Paris, Song Hye-Kyo stuns at Fashion Week, understand that these aren't accidents. They're masterstrokes of quiet branding. Behind each moment is a team that understands timing, presentation, and storytelling. Yet even with all the strategy, there's something deeply human about it. These are artists who understand the value of stillness in a noisy world. Perhaps that's what draws us to them, not just their beauty, not just their fame, but their calm. They remind us of an older kind of stardom, where grace mattered more than gossip, where distance enhanced desire. They show us that in the age of oversharing, mystery is the new luxury.